porn, gamers. They go together like meat and more meat on Arby's new Mile High beef, chicken, deer, horse, duck, bacon, wrap, big mountain man sandwich. So it's only natural that big porn would want to tap into the video game market and try to get some of those sweet, sweet dollar bills that companies like EA and Rockstar have been raking in over the past few years. Billions of dollars have been funneled into video games in just the past year alone, with Grand Theft Auto V seeing a record-breaking income totaling over $6 billion since its release in 2013, mostly due to their in-game currency purchases known as shark cards. And with the microtransaction loot box fiascos that have occurred recently, EA and Epic Games have made so much money Scrooge McDuck had to get a second swimming pool just so he could keep flexing.
EA Sports.
We have the meat.
But we're not here to talk about EA, Epic, or Rockstar. Well, maybe a little bit about Rockstar. We're going to penetrate the history, popularity, scamularity, and the staggering amount of porn games that are currently listed on Steam.
So strap on in and let's get the
It's no secret that pornography is one of the largest, constantly growing industries worldwide. The totals are a little skewed, mostly because of a lot of the companies are private firms and don't disclose their revenue yearly. But according to just one major website, Pornhub has said that they had 42 billion visits, new content added totaling 169 years worth of video length, and had 6,597 petabytes of data transferred in 2019. That's 6,597,000,000 gigabytes worth of porn transferred back and forth on their servers. Porn has been around for thousands of years in some form or another. In 2005, German archaeologist
Harold Stable
unearthed the sculpture of a man and a woman believed to be getting jiggy with it dated back to 7200 BCE. Not to mention the hordes of sexual depictions produced by the Mesopotamians, the Greeks, the Romans, and the Egyptians. Enter the United Goddamn States, 1980, the golden age of arcades. We've got Asteroid, Centipede,
motherfucker Pac-Man!
Kids are spending all of their hard-earned quarters trying to knock each other off of that coveted number one high score spot just peeking at you up in the top like, I'm better than you. I'll let you know when your mom's on her way to pick you up as soon as we're done trying to make you a little brother that will also probably get better scores than you,
Zach!
While the arcades were definitely the most popular way to play video games at the time, many people were happy to blow their wads on fancy new home consoles and computers, such as the Apple II, Atari 2600, the Intellivision,
And as you can see, the games are more realistic, providing lifelike action and superior sound effects.
and in 1981 the IBM personal computer sporting PC-DOS as an operating system. Many enthusiasts started teaching themselves how to program for these systems, passing around their creations for their friends and coworkers to play. A lot of amazing games came from people doing just that. The biggest example, in my opinion, is Tetris in 1984 by Alexei Pajitnov. But inevitably, just as all things go in this beautiful, safe, clean, pure world we live in, we gotta put them titties on it though. Though not technically pornographic, Soft Porn Adventure was developed by Chuck Benton, a text-based Apple II adventure game that placed you in the shoes of a, quote, down-on-his-luck party animal, trying to sneak up them skirts of 3 lustrous women in a hole-in-the-wall bar. If this sounds familiar, it's because after being convinced to sell his game at a trade show, Chuck was stumbled upon by Sierra Online co-founder Ken Williams, who then brought him into the company, which allowed for Al Lowe to remake the game in 1986. Reusing most of the puzzles and themes, Al chucked out a little game called Leisure Suit Larry in the Land of the Lounge Lizards. Soft Porn Adventure was entirely text-based, so all the sexual imagery was left to your imagination, while the computer repeatedly asked you, What shall I do now? More times than your ass-kissing co-worker Zach.
But don't make me kick your ass like I did to your high score on Galaga all the way back in 1981, Zach!
Then, in 1982, things took a hard left turn. A company called Mystique, owned by pornographic film company Caballero Control Corporation, released Bachelor Party, a breakout clone where you bounce a pixelated lady with your stick dong into other pixelated ladies to make them go away. Beat 'em and Eat 'em, a game that plays kinda like Kaboom, where, I'm not making this up, you control two nude women walking back and forth on the street while trying to catch falling
secretions
from some guys jerking it on the roof. Yeah.
That's a thing that exists.
And most notoriously, Custer's Revenge, a game that has you running across the desert naked from the cowboy hat down, avoiding flying arrows to reach a tied-up Native American woman and rape her. They made a rape game and called it Revenge. I wish I was making this up. On the back of the package, they literally said, quote, "She's not about to take it lying down."
This infuriated a lot of people, as it should, which ended up with multiple lawsuits, multiple bans, including a lawsuit from Atari themselves against Mystique for releasing the game, and another one against Suffolk County, New York for trying to ban the game.
Which all ended up with the game being taken off shelves permanently. The video game industry as a whole hit a rock bottom known as the video game crash of 1983 and suffered a few years of bankruptcy, layoffs, and soul-crushing depression for all gamer kids and pixel-slinging grannies alike. Ahoy has a fantastic video about it in the link up top there, so I'm not going to waste precious YouTube minutes with it.
Basically, video games died, Sudan went into a civil war, this guy went 633 miles an hour in a rocket,
and the US pissed off the UK with a couple of missiles. 2 long, boring years went by. And while Americans were sitting in front of their TVs watching a Chicago Bulls game wearing their emblem berets playing with GoBots, suddenly a commercial break kicks in and Nintendo was all like, hey kids.
Video games are back, baby! Hell yeah!
If games are this awesome on a cartridge, imagine what they'll be like on that new CD-ROM technology coming in a few years. And porn. CD-ROM came along with a virtual brothel full of video games that seemed to be written and produced by 14-year-old boys at the helm. Being able to have fully 3D rendered models and scenes meant creators were able to make the boobs look like boobs, most of the time. Look, I know this isn't a porn game, but watch yourself around Lara. Those things could stab your heart out easier than that scene in Temple of Doom. While most of these games coming out at this time were hacky attempts to get naked ladies onto 3 AM computer monitors of giggling teenagers, Japanese company Elf released a game called Dokusei that ultimately propelled forward the dating sim genre that seems to be a dominant force among Japanese women. As before anything sexual happened, you had to woo some ladies for a while before they'd hop on the bang train with you. But over in good old United States, a little old lady called Joe Lieberman got all upset about Johnny Cage uppercutting Scorpion's head all the way off his body and got the gears turning that eventually got all the major video game manufacturers together to squirt out the Entertainment Software Rating Board to avoid federal regulation. No longer could developers push out whatever fetish-driven, bottom-feeding, bottom-smacking, butt-kissing, I like butts games they wanted without being subject to review, and refusal of sale because of those reviews by retail outlets from gigantic to family-owned. Basically, if your game was reviewed and deemed adults only, you better take some of those naughty bits out of there or start walking to the unemployment line because you're about to lose almost all of your investment. With strict enforcements in place, there were still a few attempts by major companies to get people's pants a-moving in the early 2000s. Games like Playboy Mansion, basically The Sims with Hugh Hefner, and BMXXXX that featured strippers on BMX bikes. Anyway, they were released and were both just terrible, terrible games. But alas, a new controversy was a-brewing. A mod was created for Grand Theft Auto San Andreas that activated a disabled minigame that was left on the discs where you control CJ while making sweet, passionate, polygonal love to his chosen in-game girlfriend. This sparked more interest in regulations and ended with Take-Two coughing up over more than $20 million in a class action lawsuit, while forcing them to have a temporary adults-only rating until they re-released copies that had the minigame completely removed, and on the PC version, code inserted that would crash the game if the player tried to gain access to it. Here's where the internet chunks in on its killer wave and just starts throwing porn around everywhere. The irrepressible institution of homemade flash games, shovelware, shareware, and Care Bears. Every porn site was popping up with ads with clickable towels to remove from cartoon girls. Almost every flash site started hosting separate RU18 page littered with cheesy strip poker games, slide puzzles, and breakout clones that revealed, well, if you played these games, you just moved the pieces around enough for the boobies to be uncovered and gave up. This is now the norm as far as it goes with video games screaming mating calls out to the porn industry. The website ads are basically still the same, but they all seem to challenge you not to finish within a couple of minutes. And VR is rising in popularity, so they're slinging out VR bang things like hot dogs at a Mets game. While researching, I dusted off my old PC and clicked on a few of these ads. And no joke, one of them took me to a random website that redirected me to an eBay store page that was selling cell phone cases and what I'm assuming were stolen GTA 5 shark cards. Which brings us to present day 2020 and the title of this video, Steam. Until recently, when a friend pointed it out to me, I had no idea Steam had so many not safe for work and porn games listed for sale, and a huge load of free-to-play titles. I don't have any intention on playing any of them, but I thought it was interesting that they were even offered on Steam. And the staggering amount of anime-themed XXX titles is unreal. We got big titties, small titties, Earth-sized titties, girl butts, boy butts, big bucks, and truck nuts. So, all of that is the reason, I guess. Humans always had and always will have the urge to see each other naked and poke around with their naughty bits. If you can't get any in real life or just have this particular niche for it, the virtual world's got your back and will continue to make porno games. It also helps that these games make a literal ton of money.